Boa noite a todos. Welcome back to Tom Plays EU4 for absolute beginners. We are back with Portugal and we're just hopefully gearing up to attack Morocco. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out why these why these ships are just sat off the coast of Morocco right now. They're light ships. They've been set up as traders, like you would expect. I'm pretty sure they should be going to like the Ivory Coast or somewhere. Never mind. Let's just join them back up with those. May as well send them all at once. Not to worry, right? Great bullion famine. Yes, well, we'll hopefully be discovering quite a lot of gold in time. But anyway, Morocco. Currently have no diplomats. That's because we're building spy networks everywhere, I'm assuming. Apparently it isn't. Okay. Where are our diplomats then? So we just hover over the diplomat section. Proven relations with England, with Roma and with Castile. Right. Well, England is the least important of those three as far as we're concerned. Let's just pull that diplomat back. Now join these guys together, tell them to go to a friendly port in war and protect trade. Okay. Go do the Ivory Coast. Okay, so we just gained a new cardinal, which is brilliant. That will slowly increase our papal influence, which we will start making use of. War of the Roses. This is the other reason you don't want to ally England if you can avoid it. Okay, burghers are having a go at the clergy. We can force the burghers to pay and gain some money. Well, we're going to lose some loyalty from one of them no matter what we do. And it's not like we couldn't use the money, to be fair. I think I'll force them to pay. A little tricky as the burghers had less loyalty to begin with, but there wasn't that much in it. So we just got this new alert. There are disloyal estates in your country. So we've got a bunch of negative modifiers now, unfortunately. Which we can't do a huge amount about, I don't think. We need to keep our ownership of land above 30%. I wonder if... Now you see, I would at some point like to get this land of commerce, because it gives us extra diplomatic points every turn. Makes them less loyal. Holy cow. Lose some crown land. Lose some absolutism. Absolutism's a mechanism that comes in later on. It's not something that we need to worry about too much, I don't think. So it's not something I'm really going to consider, so we're not going to worry too much about that. It's generally a good thing at certain points in the game, so we don't want to lose it if we can avoid it, but you know, not that big a deal. Right, so if we right click on Morocco, get the diplomacy screen, what would happen if we declared war? Okay, so we would be able to call Castile in. I think we should do it. Were we waiting though? Sorry, were we waiting until we had this? I think we were, so we get Tangier. So are we currently building ships? We are. We need to get up to our force limit, so we're literally waiting for this ship to be built before we declare war, because we've got all the conditions. We need to declare war on Morocco before Castile declares war on Granada. Oh boy. So we're cutting it exceedingly fine, I think. But there you go. Okay, so in terms of loyalty, we've just raised the clergy's loyalty. So if we just look at his states again, how about if we do, well, there's a couple of these. There's Papal Emissary, which is useful. That actually increases their loyalty. Doesn't give them any crown land. But we need some papal influence, I think, to do it. At least 20, so we can't do that yet. This will allow us to gain more papal influence, which is definitely useful. And the earlier we do it, the better, really. And we've also got Clerical Advisory Council, which will give us cheaper administrators. Can't afford them at the moment anyway. Advisors, I mean. But here we go, Religious State. This will give us extra admin power, which will be extremely useful. We'll lose some crown land to them. We'll lose some loyalty. Let's try that. Okay, we don't have enough crown land. So we're taking some massive hits because, yeah, we've basically given them too much. On the other hand, we are gaining extra admin power, so we're going to have to sort that out. But I don't know if we can afford to sort it out yet, because we may have an uprising if we seize land again. Right, never mind, we fulfilled the mission. So we should now have a claim on Tangier. So let's get this show on the road. Okay, I thought we had a claim on Tangier. Do we not? Apologies, just looking at the... Interesting, maybe it doesn't automatically give us a claim. I wonder if that's a change. Well, can't be helped, we can't hold this off any longer, and we'll just take Tangier anyway. Which will cost us in terms of how people see us, but we'll be fine. Okay, so we've got this screen here for declare war. They are going to have all of these people join in, so we really need Castile on our side. They're also going to have Granada join in. We can get Castile to join in, but we need to put a tick in that checkbox to do it. Let's go. Little tricky. It's actually essential that we take Tangier. Ideally, we want to take all three of these because what basically happens is whoever I think starts the attack on a province will actually officially conquer it. So, and basically whichever ones we have conquered are the ones that we can claim at the end of a war. So we don't want Castile to conquer any of these. Thankfully, I think they're going to be mostly concerned with Granada. So hopefully they will focus on Granada. And we can mop these two up quickly. Because they don't have any oh no, apparently Castile's coming over here. Well, isn't that just too... Oh no, they're not. Good, good. That's it, guys. Focus on Granada. A little concerned by how powerful the enemy navy appears to be. I'm kind of waiting for Castile to bring a navy over. Oh, here we go. Alright, we can't attack Melilla yet, which is fine. We're going to go for Tangier. Need to select the right time to launch our own navy, which I think, to be honest, is probably now. Trying to head over to help, but I don't think we need our help, which is good. Right, so we're going to park our navy here. The reason for that is that these little red lines, they indicate an area that land forces can cross, but if an enemy has a navy in that area, they can't cross. So as long as we or Castile have got a navy guarding the Straits of Gibraltar, basically we can cross over here and they cannot, which is brilliant. probably one of the most basic strategies to have when playing as Castile or Portugal. I'm just going to come over here and help Castile with defeating the Moroccan navy, because generally the weaker they are, the more chance there is that we'll be able to rule the seas, if you like. I'm not going up there because I don't know what's happened to the Castilian navy. It's perhaps worth noting that while you do have a ship, we're effectively blockading this coastline here that belongs to the enemy, and we're gaining money from it. So likewise with them and our coastline. So I think we're losing money up there, we're gaining money down here. Who knows how it's working out. Also, sieges. If we left click on this province, Tangier, you get information on how the siege is going. This only really happens when there's a fort involved, which there is in this case. So at the moment we've got a minus 49% chance of them surrendering next turn. Ooh. Hey, good harvest, so we can gain a pile of money or we can invest it. I would rather invest it, we need administrative power. So at the moment there's no chance. If it's 0% or less, there is no chance. We do need to keep an eye on these armies, because Morocco will have an advantage if they have a battle on this fort here. Whereas if we give up this siege and head back over here, we have an advantage. So we might have a chance to defeat their army. It's just whether they can bring this army over before we can defeat them. But right now we have the advantage. We also have a better general. We have 2 stars there instead of 1. So far this is going well. This is their morale and our morale. If this red takes over, then the army will retreat and lose the battle. Unfortunately they've got another army coming, so we might be about to get defeated before we can win. It's unfortunate. Their morale increased, as did their numbers. I think we've lost this. It's going to be quite close actually. We do still have a fort. Unfortunately Castile have rather let us down. You see more detail over here of how we're losing. We do have an army coming, but I think they're going to be too late. And they're too late, so we have lost the battle. Really did not want that. So there you go. So we're back to sieging the castle. Because we broke the siege, we are starting from scratch, unfortunately, but we hadn't really made a lot of progress anyway. You can see there's a battle happening with Castile now. I think they will probably win, so hopefully we'll actually be okay and we can still salvage this war. We've lost more than half of our troops in that battle. And our morale has stayed low. You can still see the morale, this green and red bit on the right. They've just been defeated, so their morale's gone down enormously as well. Note we've got a little skull because we are losing men as we do the siege. But yeah, basically I'm just going to stay here and carry on with the siege now and hope that Castile can sort out Morocco. Obviously they're still very interested in Granada, which is why they didn't come to help us until it was too late. Well, that's life. It's worth bearing in mind as Portugal that you'll get like a couple of attempts at Morocco at the start of the game, possibly just one, and there's no guarantee it's going to go well. But it's not the end of the game if it doesn't. At the end of the day, even if the worst happens, if we lose this province, even if we lose the Algarve, we're still primarily a colonial nation, and losing militarily, as long as we don't lose too much, it doesn't really affect the game that much. I mean, colonialism will eventually make us powerful, so we can always come back and wipe the floor with everyone later if we're really that concerned about it. I'm just hoping our morale will recover. I'm rather disappointed that Castile seems to have run off again. This rather leaves the way open to a Moroccan army coming back and defeating us again, especially while we're on a province with their fort this time. It's one of the reasons I attacked, basically. I was concerned that they were going to attack us and they would have the advantage. As it was, because we fought on our battleground, we came fairly close to winning. So I do think it was the right decision to attack them. Just unfortunately Castile weren't pulling the weight yet. There'll be more help once they've taken Granada. I suppose what we could have done is we could have attacked Granada, because I think we do have a claim on a couple of these lands. In fact, if I see the army coming, I might even do that. I might basically run out of here, head there, and try and take this land. It won't hurt us to own it at all. I mean, Castile won't like it, but then we've got diplomats working all the time to keep Castile on board. Speaking of diplomats, I might send this one back to England. So just improve relations with England. Can always recall them again when we need to. So another thing that's quite important, which I probably should have done at the start, on the economy screen there's an option here to raise war taxes. This is going to cost us in military power, but it basically means it's a flag, so we can leave this set if we want. Whenever we're at war, we gain a bunch of advantages, which should hopefully reduce the amount we're losing every month, because at the moment our finances are taking a terrible hit from this war. Partly because our fort is back up to full maintenance. Both forts, I suppose. Actually, I don't know if that really is a fort. I think you just get a built-in fort. Let's see. Oh no, there are two forts, so I guess it really is a fort. But that's costing us more. Obviously our army's fully supported. I think they were anyway. As these sliders here, you can take down the amount you spend maintaining your army. It basically means if you get in a fight, they're very likely to lose. Oh, they won't set off yet because we're at war, but I'm just going to send them to the Côte d'Ivoire as well. Hopefully that will give us a bit more money. That's the other thing, of course. None of our ships are currently trading. Our trading ships are currently in port, so we're not making any money out of those either. So war can be an expensive time. So I'm trying to stick here, because remember, the main thing we need as Portugal, if possible, is Tangier. So fairly determined to take it if possible. Pleased to see that our army is recovering. We still have some manpower left. The more of us you can have going into a war, the better, because it means that your army, even if it gets defeated, will recover quite quickly. As time goes on, you'll see that the army recovers, but this goes to zero. Once this is at zero, recovery becomes slow, because this builds up quite slowly. Okay. Right, I thought they were going to attack one of us then. I think it was Castile they were going to attack. So this is looking more hopeful, although we've more or less given up any chances of gaining land in Granada. Castile, having taken some of the land in Granada, is now more inclined to move troops down to Africa. So hopefully we're going to see them pulling the weight a lot more in the war. In fact, more than pulling the weight, because really we're depending on Castile to win this for us. We still couldn't defeat the Moroccan, well, the combined forces, even when we had a castle in our favour and a better general. So you sort of see how badly we need Castile. Okay, so they have attacked us, but Castile have sent an army as well, so this combined army under our general is much larger than our own army. So even though they have a fort advantage, we're still winning by a long shot. Brilliant. This is something we get a few times. We've had this before. Units have suffered casualties. It just means that this is slowly building back up to full. The problem we've got now is that Castile might take these two provinces, in which case we won't be able to claim them. It's annoying because they're the ones we actually have claims on. But we should be able to take this even though we apparently don't have a claim on it, which I thought we would have. I think that's another patch change. Oh boy, we're really going to have to deal with these two. Not that we can do much about that one. It should rectify itself over time. It needs to get above 30% loyalty. This one is a problem though. What we're going to need to do with the Crown Land is we're going to have to seize it, which is, I think, that one, so we can't even do that yet, but we'll soon be able to. And that will make people disloyal, probably lead to an uprising in Portugal itself. So we need to have our army in Portugal ready to put down the uprising when it happens. And it will also make a load of estates disloyal again, which will give us a bunch of disadvantages. But we've got a bunch anyway, so we need to sort this one way or another. Might consider doing the equivalent of this for the burghers as well, just before we seize the land. So it should overall mean that the three of them have similar levels of land. Probably won't do the same for the nobility, which is this one, primacy of the nobility, because in a lot of ways as a colonial nation, as you'll see, we really need admin power and diplomatic power. We need them almost to the exclusion of all else. So whereas the nobility already have quite a bit of land, and choosing this would give them even more. So in some ways it sort of balances it, but we are going to have to seize land then until we have at least 30%. So I don't even know if we'll be able to do it in one land seizure. But on the plus side, we will be gaining more admin, and hopefully once we do it, more diplomatic power every turn until the end of the game. So that should help. That should help enormously. Okay, brilliant. So, not sure where Castile have gone again, but at least no one's currently attacking us. We seem to be maintaining naval superiority. It does concern me a little because I think that navy is more powerful than ours. We have 3 heavy ships. They have 4 heavy ships and a bunch of trade ships. Might need to bring our trade ships out. The problem is, once we take this province, which we're on the verge of being able to do, we're now on 0%, if you remember it was -49 at the start, these ships will be forced to set off. So I think I might actually bring our trade ships in, much as I don't want to, but if I can't rely on Castile to help, which I really wish they would, yeah, I think we're going to have to bring our trade ships in to give us a chance. And oh, there's some Castilian boats, so that's good. That might help us. Okay, brilliant. So the other things about the siege, if you actually hover over 0%, you can see that there's basically a random roll, 1 to 14, every month, I think. Possibly on the 2nd or the 1st of the month. And we'll get one of these results. Okay, so I think... was that the walls broke just then? Whatever it was, it shot us up to 21% chance of total surrender next time, which is brilliant. Yeah, so you can have a few of us. There is one about... completely forgetting it now because there's no chance of it happening, but it's if you roll a 1. Oh, disease outbreak, that's the one. So that's the only bad one, really. Oh, we've finished improving relations with Castile. The rest of them should make this number go up and all the percentages go up a bit. So as time goes on, I guess it must be the 20th if it happens, the chance of surrender just slowly increases, unless you get disease outbreak, or status quo, I think. You get a little yellow message coming up here to tell you which has been picked. Defenders desert. That's good, so the chance of surrender has now gone up to either 35% or 36%, depending whom you believe. Is that a rounding error? So we've now got a 1 in 3 chance of just winning this siege, which is good. The other advantage of this is once we do take the castle, they'll have to do something similar to this to take it back. Plus, it has a big difference on the war score. This is how the war's going down here. We're winning in 12%. So 12% towards winning the war. So it can go up to 100. If you get a red version, then you're losing. So that should jump up quite a bit because we've taken a fort. Once we take it. Might be a while before we see one of these again. This may end up being the last actual war we have. I tend to avoid them with Portugal once we've started on the colonising. Basically because colonisation, to do it effectively, needs troops, so we won't be able to have our full army in one place again. Note that our manpower is now 0 again, so any losses we make now will be very slow to heal themselves. We still have to win the naval battle. We might even consolidate all our navy. Can always sort it out later. I'm hoping these don't fall at the same time. Oh no, that's nowhere near falling. That's good. Although it would be nice if Castile would send some troops over. Okay, we have finally taken it. There's now going to be a naval battle. I'm going to try to move over here before Castile can take it, but no guarantee that we'll manage it. Naval battles often take longer, so you do have time to send ships to help if you need to, but it does look like we're winning. So that's what matters. A lot of the time when fighting Morocco, you really want to keep the Straits of Gibraltar. We've won. Brilliant. So that will have increased our war score a bit again. But yeah, it's basically Morocco cannot attack us by land as long as we keep the Straits of Gibraltar. Less of a concern for us anyway, because Castile's in the way, as they usually are. So yeah, now we want to focus on this. So this is a bit like the siege, except that because there's no fort, we're just given a date as to when we will occupy the land. So hopefully we'll have no problems taking this. I don't know what else we can take. We can maybe go for this one. Forts have this thing called a zone of control, which I think is preventing us. It prevents us before from moving into this province before the fort of Fez fails. Ideally, we don't want to attack Fez if we can avoid it, but we will see. Also, bear in mind, we don't need this to hit 100%. We're not likely to be taking that much land from Morocco compared to all the land they've got and all the subjects they have. In fact, one thing we should consider doing is making a separate peace with Granada. Let's just see, can I go there? Okay, I can't go there. I could help Castile with Fez in theory. Or I'm just thinking, because they don't seem to currently need any help, what we can do is try and use the ships. So these ships can take 9 troops. So if I split my army when this arrives, it will let me go here to Salé, because I can use the boats, basically, to board it. But I had to split my troops to do it. So once this is finished, once this troop has finished going to this province and is no longer using the boats, I can then start moving the rest of the army to follow. So we can still got our full army down here, and it's a way to get around the zone of control using ships. And we're still... ooh. Right. I was going to say, we're still on the border, so we can help Castile if they need it, and it would appear that they do indeed need it. So we don't have a general, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to send troops anyway because I do not want Castile to lose or even to take too much damage. We've got to remember whose side we're on. There we go. definitely going to win by the look of it, which is good, because it's taking our troops forever to do this ship thing. It does tend to take a while, to be fair. Right, I'm going to move out again, because I don't want to be the one holding the siege. But I will help as needed. I think Castile's going to officially take this province simply because they started it. So I would rather have all of my troops in one place. They're still mostly focusing on this province up here, but they've now got a 14% chance of taking it. So hopefully they will finish this before long. So what I was going to say is, if you click on this shield down here, let's keep an eye on those troops, you see all the participants in the war and what they've all done. Ooh. Hang on a sec. Let's just get rid of this for a sec. I think I'm going to need to split this again. And I want to move all my troops if possible. Let's have a look at this again. Right, so these are all the participants, how much they've taken part. So Castile has actually done more than we have officially, which partly because Granada's involved, so they've obviously conquered Granada. However, this is important, war exhaustion. Now the main war is with Morocco, and these three, I think, are vassals of Morocco, so they can't make any independent decisions. However, Granada is just an ally of Morocco, and their enthusiasm is low, so there's a good chance that we could make peace with them. Now, only the principal party in the war can make peace with a non-principal party. So any of us could make peace with Morocco if we wanted. If Castile made peace with Morocco, it wouldn't end the war. They'd just be kind of betraying us. However, Castile can't make peace with Granada. We can. So it might be worth us taking Granada out of a war, like right now, just so that Castile come down here and help us finish off Morocco. On the other hand, they're so close to taking them and it will increase the war score overall. So part of me wonders if maybe we should just keep them on board, because it's possible our war score will actually go down once Granada leave. So we might be better off just doing the whole thing as one thing and just making peace with Morocco, ending the whole war while Granada's still on board. Castile gets some Granadan lands, we get some Moroccan lands, and everyone's happy. So also, oh excellent, bit less unrest, which is much needed. Oh, I failed to notice this. Right, we have this here is always a good thing. It means we've gained enough administrative power to get a new technology called temples. So we just go here, choose it. We're actually ahead of time, so we're getting some bonuses, which is good. And we can now build a church, which is the temple if you're a Christian. So we're now moving towards national ideas. These are critical, so that's our next administrative technology, which is great. 35% chance of surrendering. I don't know where most of the Moroccan army is. I don't know if they've actually been defeated. Oh, excellent, they've taken them. So hopefully Castile... Right, this navy has been forced to set off, where they're going to get minced. Yeah, Castile should now come down into Africa, and we'll all start finishing off Morocco. Oh, brilliant. Apparently we could use the ships to get to Melilla as well, so I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to send a small part of the army just to take Melilla before Castile does, because we had actual fabricated claims on these two provinces, and these three are the ones we really care about. So especially this one. So I'm hoping to take at least these three. Might not worry too much about the others, because I do want to give Castile at least some Granadan land as well. Unlike when the computer's playing Portugal, I don't particularly want to screw my biggest ally over. So when it comes to actually making peace, you can generally gain more the higher this score is. So we're on 25% at the moment. 100% is the ideal. Whether we're actually going to go for that, I haven't fully decided. I mean, it's an option. We could try to take all the land we would normally try and take in one go, but might be a bit excessive. Bear in mind that any land we take from them is going to have unrest and things like that. So it's going to be a bit of a pain, especially once we start colonising and we don't have a full army. Alright, let's tentatively speed up the time. Ooh, okay, another event. Sale of titles. Someone suggests he's selling off noble titles. So we can do that. Now that will sort out our problem with disloyal estates. And it will give us some money. Gives the burghers more lands, but well, I don't like that. Oh, but we do get more stability. Now to me, stability is probably more important. But we do really need gold. Tell you what, let's go for gold. Because having gold, let's slow time down again, does give us another opportunity in that we can now build buildings. So we're going to go back to estates, and this is another thing you can do, which I usually find quite positive, is summon the diets. The diet's kind of like an early parliament, but basically all three states are going to present suggestions. It gives them some extra influence, which can be risky, but they're not too bad at the moment, I don't think. Okay. It does give them more loyalty, actually, which helps. Sorted out our estate issue a bit more. So, the three estates each propose an agenda, and we have to pick one. But these are all positive. No one gets upset that we've picked another one. As long as we... what does happen is a problem if we fail, so we need to make sure it's one we can succeed in. So, the clergy wants us to invest in prosperity of the lands. So that generally costs admin power, diplomatic power, or military power, depending. So clergy will be admin power, so we need to be careful with that because we don't have very much right now, having just gained the technology. Nobility wants us to increase the splendour of a king's court. That's interesting. Sounds expensive, but probably doable. The burghers call for us to increase our commercial presence in the Safi trade. Now that could be tricky to achieve, because we're already doing a lot. So, proposal of the clergy. I mean, we will probably be able to do it. It will cost us admin power, but at the same time, it will develop the province, which would be good. Okay, nobility. We need a prestige of at least 30. Now, that's quite difficult to achieve. I don't think we can guarantee that we're going to achieve that one. But we do have quite a while to do it, and we may get prestige from winning this war. It gives us administrative power. The clergy one, ironically, gives us prestige. Interesting. The burghers. Following is fulfilled Agadir. 25% or more trade power. Now that to me looks a little tricky. I'm not sure we should risk doing that for now. Right, I think we should go for the safest one, which is a proposal of the clergy. Increase tax on income. So we pick that. We've got so long to fulfill it, and if you fail to fulfill it, we'll get some drawbacks. But yeah, so that's going to be a question of development. Which is good. Oh, I've taken this land. Brilliant. Let's move on. Okay, so if we click on the province, so this is development, we see a lot of information about it. The development overall is here, which is at 7, but it's made up of 3 types. So this is the base tax, which is 3, the base production, which is 3, and the base manpower, which is 1. So we need to get this to 5 to fulfill that condition. So it's going to cost us 60 administrative power to go to 4. It's perfectly simple, so we just wait till we gain the administrative power and we put it in as soon as possible. It'll hold us back on the next administrative technology, but this province in itself will be more developed. Development means you can build more buildings. At the moment we have a castle, we could build one more building here, and when we have a development of 10, so this gets to 10, we will unlock another slot for a building. And it also gives us more tax depending how developed it is. It will allow technology to spread more quickly across the country. It's definitely worthwhile. Okay, so we have a peace offer from Granada. So Granada has offered to make peace, and they're going to give 3 provinces to Castile and renounce their claims on this land here. And we will gain some prestige and some power production. Might actually go for that, seeing as they've offered it. It's certainly good for Castile. I just hope Castile are going to stay with us. So we'll see what happens to the war score when we accept. Yeah, you see it's gone down to 19. But we have gained some prestige and some power projection, which are both good. Hopefully Castile is extremely happy with this. And will therefore stick around for the rest of our war. Now I would actually like to bring my armies together if I can. I'm a little concerned about this army here. Okay. Right, something new, the Renaissance. This is an institution. So these are very important for technology. Basically, this will start in a particular area, not our area. We're hoping we might be the beginning of some place, in which case you get some big bonuses. But this will have started somewhere in Italy. We'll check where it started. And it will slowly spread across the various countries. Anyone who doesn't have it yet will start gaining penalties to getting technology, so we'll become less technologically advanced. Finished improving relations with the Papal State. Granada is no longer a valid rival, not a surprise. Lost our Casas Belli. We've gained Casas Bellis against Castile. They'll be temporary though, those are the claims we fabricated against Granada. We'll just ignore them. We have occupied Anther, which is great. And move down to here. And hope this army doesn't start getting ideas. Okay, so if we pick the big shield and head to this technology, this is our technology screen, but it also has an option here for show institutions. So this is the Renaissance. Oh, this is good. So it looks like if you're fairly technologically advanced anyway, you automatically start gaining it. So it began in Siena. So they fully have it. It is present. But all these other lands that are in shades of green are beginning to gain it. So it's not bad, it's quite widespread, certainly across Europe. And down into areas of the Middle East and Asia. So yeah, in effect we've got a percentage for how much of it we currently have. So that will start to, yeah, I mean basically it's going to spread naturally over time. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Even though Castile took Fez, it's being counted as if it was ours. It's novel. I've forgotten these, we need to take the lands from these vassals as well, but it looks like Castile's on with that, which is good. I think, to be honest, we might be able to just go for 100% war score here. Nah, we can't get there. That's fine. I'll just leave my army there then. Okay, so this is going to take a while. So, yes, development then. So we're not actually going to do this, but seeing as we just did a bit of development, in each province there's actually a section for the institutions. Apparently we've occupied Castile. Is good. Let's take Meknes. A section for institutions, and we see here the Renaissance. We're currently gaining 0.05 per month, which isn't a lot, so we're expecting to get it in 1603. This is going to go up. I mean, it'll go up when Castile has it present in some of their provinces. It'll go up if we get it present in some of our provinces. But it's worth being aware that any changes we make to development in this province now will automatically boost this. I mean, it will go up faster based on how developed the territory is anyway. I think Porto will go up faster because it's more developed. 19 versus 12. But we will also gain a one-time boost to it anytime we develop a province. So well worth developing any provinces that are currently learning institutions. So there won't be any point with these at the moment, these three, but any of these, if we were to boost them, would definitely be a plus. It's not actually present anyway yet. Once it's present, well, apart from Siena of course, who started it, once it's present, these places, which share a border with it, possibly these as well, will start increasing much more rapidly. But yeah, to start with, it doesn't have a big impact, it just starts to spread. And the highest developed provinces will get it first, usually. It does mean you're at a huge advantage if you're nowhere near Europe, unfortunately. I do think some of the DLCs make it possible, at least, to... Are these guys? No. I'm not at war with them. Right, I should probably help with a siege then. Generally, the bigger the army doing a siege, the faster it's over. I don't know. Oh, Castile have used ships to get here, which is good, but the only province we can reach is this one, so let's just help Castile out. I think we will just try and go for 100%, so I think we've got to conquer all three of these people as well, because they're all vassals of Morocco. But I don't feel particularly obliged to give Castile anything now, so we'll probably just take as much Moroccan land as we can, because Castile have basically got these provinces out of the war already. So on the whole, it should put both of us in quite a strong position. Quite funny playing Portugal, because Castile are both our biggest rival as the other, you know, really focused colonial nation, and also our greatest friend. But hey, what can you do? Okay, we've still got a lot of money, and we're quite a way away from the next time we're going to do anything with the estate. So I'm going to build a church. So churches basically get you more tax, which at the start of the game is the main way of making money, because we're not a huge trading empire yet. You actually get a list in order of which will give you the most extra money a turn. So this bit in green, I think, is what you'll actually get per month. Sorry, not turn. So we actually want to build a church in Porto. It's the best place to build one. It will take a while to build. If we go away from that screen, we'll see it as a little bar. A bit like when we're making ships and troops. In fact, I might build a second one, because we are so going to need money. So it's just this alert here, you can build improvements. So another church. So the next one is Lisboa, not a surprise, that is our capital. So that'll give us an extra 0.20. So once those two are finished, we will be gaining an extra 0.43 ducats a month, which will be well worth having. Currently gaining quite a lot of money, but I'd rather wait until the war's finished. We're no longer doing war taxes, our army's at full size and such like before I make decisions about hiring advisors, much as I'd like to have them. However, no, we've still got a disadvantage for Crown land, haven't we? Okay, so papal influence while we're at it. We've now got 7. So we can click on the papacy. There are 2 things you can do with papal influence. One of them is you can try to become the next Curie controller, which gives you a ton of advantages. It's well worth having. The first bit of influence towards getting that only costs 5 papal influence, which isn't a lot, so I think it's always worth going for that. So I'm going to click on that. It's reduced our hours to 2, but it's given us a 25% chance of becoming the Curia controller. So we're sharing that with a papal state who pretty much always has some, England and Castile. That might go down if another country invests this in it. It's sometimes worth doing the 10 for the next level, but it's diminishing returns, so often I just stick with the 5. Because the other thing you can do is if you get to 50, you can get one of these benefits, and these are really good. They're highly worth having. But yeah, if we can be Curia controller, it would be great. It's a big boost, but you can't guarantee it. A lot of the time, you'll have even less than 25% chance unless you really, really push it. But it will definitely help us if it does happen. Okay, Marrakesh, which I think is one of these nations we're at war with, we've found one of their spies, which is great, expelled them, and it's reduced their spy network to 50, so they need to do whatever it is they want to do really quickly, or they're going to lose it all, because it starts going down. That is one thing to bear in mind when you're spying. It will doubtless happen at some point, but if you get caught, you need to quickly use whatever points you've built up, because they will start reducing. England, War of the Roses, still going, I see. France is still pretty fragmented. It's great, we've actually got all of our diplomats back. Which makes me wonder if we should be looking at a bit of improving relations. At least 2 of them. Let's try and improve relations with the Habsburgs, with Austria I mean, and with Bohemia. Just in the background, because it doesn't cost us anything. Keep 1 diplomat handy for when we want to end the war, which will hopefully be quite soon. I think Castile's making short work of them. It's just the forts really that are going to hold things up. Might just increase speed again. I see these lands are showing as occupied by Castile. So I think you can change this with the DLC, but as things stand, yeah, maybe I should have gone for the coastal lands instead. Never mind, at least I'm here. As things stand with no DLCs, we could only give these lands to Castile at the end of the war, and these lands could only go to us, they couldn't go to Castile. As it happens, I'm not intending to give any lands to Castile. Now, having already given them those, and honestly I'm probably going to be taking northern provinces anyway. I think we did briefly look at the trade map, so really what I want is these ones, because these are part of a severe trade node. So yeah, if we get these 4, we're doing extremely well, but we'll see. We shall see. Right. We do need to keep an eye on this as well, because as the war goes on, we're going to start gaining this war exhaustion thing, which is this. It's basically how fed up our own citizens are of being at war. Just slow down again, briefly. I'm going to go and help with that siege. Try and get the war over with. We're on 82% war power now, so war score. But I've just remembered we need to be investing in this area here. It's a shame it doesn't yet have the institution. But we can't really afford to wait for that. We don't want to fail this estate. So we just click on it twice. Gives us 5, and then we've completed this. So we've gained 10 prestige, which is always good, and the clergy has gained 10 loyalty. It's fantastic. So we're looking for loyalty now. Nobility is 41, clergy is 55, burghers are 37. We can't seize lands when we're at war anyway, so everyone will drop by 20 loyalty. if you drop below 30, there's generally a chance that there'll be a rebellion, so only the clergy would be safe to seize lands from at the moment, and that probably won't last. But we're going to do it anyway, it's just we need to make sure our army's in these lands because they're the most likely places for an uprising from the estates. High Atlas, incidentally, is wasteland, so we can't take it, we can't cross it. It tends to just show up in the colour of whoever sort of dominates the area around it. But that's why we're not currently taking it. This area is wasteland as well. This area is actually terra incognita, it's possible to colonise here. But I very much doubt we will be doing. Okay, now this is a warning about our war exhaustion is high. We've got above 5. I think, is this Morocco? Morocco's offering peace, so they're willing to give us Melilla and Tetuan, but they're not giving us Tangier, so that's not acceptable. They'll also give us some money and they'll end their overlordship, which would weaken them a lot. But no dice. Actually, we are on 99%. But then that's not surprising. I think we're about to be on 100%. So 99 is generally what you get when you've utterly beaten them, but you haven't quite got everything. They've got an army left, they've got a province left. There's some reason why they've still got some little bit of power, whereas 100% tends to mean you've crushed them completely. 100% is always ideal, but 99 is usually good enough. Still, having come this far, in theory this castle could surrender at any time. Okay, travelling minstrel, this is always good. Now we could gain some prestige and gain a skill 2 artist, but we wouldn't be able to afford him. Basically, we can't even afford skill 1 advisors, so we should definitely gain stability. Stability is always a good thing. Yeah, it only goes up to +3, so +1 stability is actually a big increase. That's definitely worth having. We've been quite lucky with events this time. I'm expecting a slew of really negative ones to make up for it. Come on, little castle, give in. Morocco wanted to make peace again. Right, so I'm actually going to pause. Start moving our armies back, because we're going to want them back. Okay, so we're now on 100% war score. So now we want to make peace. So you right click on them, and where we'd have declare for war, we've got sue for peace. Now the easiest way to do it, at the moment it defaults to what they call a white peace, which just means you make peace. That would be a very bad idea with 100% war score. You've got an option for suggest demands, which is pretty much what they offered us. This is generally what the computer thinks is reasonable. It often goes along the lines of whom we had a claim on, because we will gain yeah, this aggressive expansion, it's a measure of how aggressive we're seen to be. It can be risky if you let it get too high, but at the same time, given this may be the only war we get, I do want to make the most of it. So I've just cleared the offer. So what I'm going to do is nice and simple. We're on siege provinces. I'm just going to click on the ones I want. The peace offer value goes up each time, and you get a nice big tick as to whether they're likely to accept it. If I take Tangier, LA, Garb, Anfa, apparently they will actually accept that, which is surprising to me. So these are all the coastal regions, which Portugal does tend to favour. I feel like I've gone overboard. It's risky. It's risky taking this much. What can happen if you let your aggressive expansion get too high is you can end up with what they call a coalition, where a whole bunch of nations sort of joins in against you, but because we're almost certainly never going to attack again, at least for 200 years, I'm going to risk it. And they've amazingly accepted that. So the drawback is we are going to have quite a few problems with rebellion, I think. With these provinces, we'll likely have a lot of unrest. But at the same time, it might help our money problems a lot. Okay, so we've fulfilled the mission, Conquer Tangier. It's given us 150 administrative power, which is great. I think we've also gained this one. Yep, expand the buffer zone. It's reduced unrest. Brilliant. Oh. Expand Portugal. Yes, we've definitely expanded Portugal. Haven't conquered new states yet, although I do wonder if that's because we haven't cored the provinces. Okay, so corruption is growing. We've got a whole bunch of new alerts now. Exiled armies just means that we've got armies which are in foreign lands and we're not at war with those lands. So that will fix itself as our army makes its way back, which is good. Things about mercenary companies. Not going to go into the mercenary companies. Probably not going to use them because we lack money. So what have we got? So we've still got low crown land, which we need to deal with next. We've got provincial unrest, which is a problem. All these areas are now a bit unresty. Units have suffered casualties. That will sort itself over time and our manpower will recover, but it will take time. War exhaustion is high. Again, that will sort itself over time. We could reduce it artificially, but I would rather not spend the diplomatic power. Exiled armies we just did. Corruption is growing. Right, I think that's just because we've got more states. So there's a slider for root out corruption. So we just need to click and hold this and drag it to the right until that goes either yellow or green. Okay, so that'll do. We don't really need to reduce it. I think it will slowly start to reduce as we call states, even though it's on 0.01 at the moment. It's not too bad. Thankfully, we're still making money, amazingly. Might mothball the forts to be on the safe side. Might actually sell this fort. So let's close institutions. You see this fort? I'm going to destroy it. I can't sell it and destroy it. Basically because it's costing us money that we can't afford and we've already got a fort next door. So I don't think it's really worth having two forts next to each other. So even though it does cost us a little in terms of defence. Right, let's just land here. I'm going to move troops across to mainland Portugal simply because I'm assuming we don't have military access. We don't. I think it costs us money. So I might not do that if we don't need to. But I'm going to seize some crown land, so I want to be ready for a rebellion, and I do think it's most likely to happen here. Might not, and it will be useful if we get a chance to recover a little. So you see here we've got separatists. This is what we're going to be in danger of. So once we've dealt with seizing the crown land, we're probably going to need our army back over here to deal with rebels, because it looks like Castile already have some. They're having to fight. Less of a problem for Castile, but our armies tend not to be as big, and also they're going to be a bit spread out. Okay, so what else do we have? Disputed succession we're probably not going to do anything with right now. Free advisor slot we're not going to do anything with. Uncontested claims will expire. Doesn't really matter. I'm not planning on any more wars. We've got truces that will expire, doesn't matter either. Some of your provinces lack cores. This is quite important. So basically, before we can really consider these provinces to be ours, we need to make them cores. And it costs administrative power, you can see how much, but we're taking a lot of damage from them not being cores. So really we should just sacrifice the admin power and just do it. Right, so we didn't have enough admin power to do all of them, but we should do them as and when we can. It does take time, but it's important. It should hopefully reduce our unrest a bit. So, well worth doing. Honestly can't believe we've taken that much land. Not hearing anything about coalitions yet, so hopefully. Might even just send a diplomat here, just in case. Seeing as they're now our next door neighbours. Okay. Send the last troop over. So the other thing I do want to do, I really need to finish there, I've gone way over. But I wanted to kind of finish the war. Is I want to retrieve all the trade ships from this combined navy and set them trading again. Now I'm pleased to see we're actually still making money, which is surprising. I'm actually thinking maybe possibly wait until our advisors, our military is rebuilt before I hire an advisor. Okay, so there's no easy way to do this, so we've currently got 10 trade ships mixed in with the general navy, so I'm just going to start splitting them. Try and get the trade ships on their own. So it's the barks we're looking for. Okay, so there's one. There are two. That's four. Six. Missed one. 9, and then I just got the one I managed to miss. There we go, 10. So that should be all of them. So we now split again into a trading navy and a military navy. I might just send all these on one mission. Oh. Okay, it's a bit unfortunate. Wonder why we're suddenly no longer gaining money. What happens if I send half of them on a mission? Okay. Right, send you to Safi then. I'll take the other half. I'll send you to the Ivory Coast. You're not gaining anything at the moment, but at least you're not losing anything either. Okay. I think we gained some admin power. We have. So let's call someone else. I think that's probably it for now. We will deal with the Crown Land next time. I do still want to finish rebuilding the army. Units have suffered casualties. So yeah, we're coring these provinces in an attempt to make them more peaceful, but it's basically going to be a question of trying to hold on to these. So I don't think we'll be making any more wars. This is way more land than I was ever intending to take in any case. But it might actually help us. Like with funding colonialism, there you see we've got a problem already. Rebel uprising. Oh dear, not good. 13,000 troops. We may have to hold off on the Crown Land possibly. Right, but we're going to deal with that next time because we've gone way over. So yeah, that may be the only war we do as Portugal for a couple of centuries. Because we will be on with the colonialism. Although I have to say we've been held up on the colonialism by covering these provinces, unfortunately. So Castile may gain the drop on us. But nonetheless, it's an opportunity we couldn't really miss. So we'll just have to roll with that. But yeah, hope that was interesting, and I will see you next time.